Flosstube. My name is Becca, and I am SamBrie Stitches here on Flosstube and Instagram. And this is another edition of Interview with a Flosstuber. Today, I'm very, very excited to have Marlene from Stitchin' by the Lake with me. I really enjoy her channel. I listen to her while I'm stitching, as I'm sure many of you do when you watch Flosstube. Very soothing and very calming for me. I love listening to her stories, and she just does some amazing, beautiful projects. So if you've not checked out her channel, there'll be a link down below. But how are you doing this morning, Marlene?
I'm doing great. Waiting on the rain.
Waiting on the rain, I know. So we will jump on into the questions. The first one is, why did you start a Flosstube, and were there any particular motivations?
It was actually sort of a transition. I think I'm going to combine this question with the second one. I started a blog, yeah.
Okay.
Back in 2008, I was scheduled to go on a mission trip with my husband and my sister. And a week before the mission trip, I had a TIA. And if you don't know what that is, it's like a very minor stroke. It was just in my eye. It went away. I've never had any problems. But of course, the doctors wouldn't let me go out of the country. And we were scheduled to go to Mexico. I was really disappointed to stay home. And one of my daughters, who was a library media specialist then, suggested that I read some quilting blogs. I was just quilting, wasn't cross-stitching. And I didn't even know what a blog was. But she said, you need to do it, Mom, and you need to start one, because I also like to write. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. I've had a short story published years ago, and I write, I get a morning text now that's a devotion. And so when I started watching them, I thought, well, heck, I can do that because I can write, you know. So I started a blog in 2008, and I just quilted during time. And about 2015, I started back cross-stitching. I'd done it many years before, and started, somehow I found, I think, Stitching in Sequins probably was the first YouTube video that I saw. Okay. And I thought, well, I can do that. Why not? And it's really fun. If you go back and look at that first one, I had just had hand surgery. I couldn't stitch. I was in a thing from here to here. Yeah. But heck, I just decided, why not? If you can write a blog, you can do a video. So that's what I did.
Nice. Is your blog still available? Are you still, is it active? Or?
It is not active. I have not written since 2017.
Okay.
But it is still there. I leave it up. And because I started that, when I decided to start writing that, one of the reasons I did it, and one of the main reasons I do the videos, is because no matter how old you get, if your parents are gone, you miss them. And the thing I miss most about my mother is her voice. I wanted something for my children to have later when I'm gone, so that they can come back and hear my voice. I might get emotional when I talk about that, but you know, that's a legacy I think we leave to our children. You have young children now, but if you think about it, at some point in time, they will go back and they'll watch and they'll see Mom and they'll hear Mom, and my kids don't really know. They kind of know what I do every day, but not really. You know, I have 3 kids and they're all educators and they're all working all day long. But someday they'll go back and watch that. So that's my big motivation.
I never even thought about that, really, that the videos and everything like that are there forever.
Right.
Oh, that's such a neat way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love that. So then the next question, we'll just go on to the third question since we kind of combined the first two, is how did you learn to stitch, and how long have you been stitching?
Depends on what kind of, if you're just talking about cross stitching, that's a different story. I have been sewing since I was 10 or 12, I
Oh,
guess.
wow.
My mother in the summer was trying to find something for my sister and I to do, and she found a sewing class at the Singer sewing machine store, so we took that. But at some point in my early married days, I started embroidering, and I do not remember why or how, but I did crewel embroidery for a while. After my son was born, and he was born in 76, I had a really good friend who cross-stitched, and she showed me how. So I have cross-stitched since then, since 76. I stopped I stopped really all the cross-stitch about 2015,
Okay.
and just quilted and did wool applique and that kind of stuff. And started, no, that's wrong, 2005. Started back cross-stitching in 2015. I still have pieces I did when I was pregnant with my son, and that was in 75.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not many, but I still have a few.
That's pretty neat. Um, so do you have a favorite project that you've stitched?
I have several. Projects are like our children. How do you pick a favorite?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I do have a few. I have this one right here is one of my favorites. Let me move my computer, see if you can see
Oh,
that.
there we go.
I can't figure out how to touch it. That's from My Big Toe Designs, and it's Books of the Bible. It's done on tin roof.
Oh, pretty.
Using Belle silks. Just 3 colors. Espresso is the primary color, and then there's a green and a rose for the flowers, and I don't remember those names, but that's one of my favorites. And then I brought another one to show you. I've shown these before. I don't know if you can. This one.
Oh,
This
wow.
is the Little House Needlework series. I don't remember the name of that series. Do you, Becca?
Is it the American?
Something. Yeah, it's an Americana one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't remember. Anyway, that's also a favorite. And it's down because it fell off the wall this morning for some
Oh,
reason.
no.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Anyway.
That's a little scary. Does it have glass? I didn't notice.
No,
Oh, okay. That's good because it might have
I
broke.
don't typically use glass on any of my
Yeah.
stitched pieces.
So the next question is, what do you enjoy most about stitching?
You know, I thought about this question for a while. I love finished products. But the process, which is typical for most stitchers, I think, the minute that I sit down to stitch, there's a peace that you feel. You just relax. There's been a study done about handwork that says your blood pressure lowers when you're stitching, and I believe that. You can feel it. You can feel your body relaxing. You focus on that one thing, and you tune out the world. And if you're counting, you can't really worry about whether you've got dishes in the sink or dirty clothes on the floor. You tune all of that out, and you focus on what you're doing. And so I think it's that peace that comes with it.
I think it's the same for me. I always say it's very calming and very centering. And I have an irregular heartbeat, and usually it runs a little bit high. I can tell, like when I'm sitting and stitching, I can tell that it's like lowered, and then I'm a little bit calmer and I can relax. So it definitely has an amazing effect on the body and the mind.
It does. And you have young children, right?
No, mine are older. I have one that's almost 16 and a 21-year-old.
But
They're still stressful.
Exactly. I was just going to say, it just you worry more as they get older.
Yeah.
I promise. Even when they're grown, you worry. Yes. And if you're concerned, if your 16-year-old is out in the evening,
yep,
you're not going to rest until she's back home.
Yep, that's
if
true.
If you're teaching, then that worry level is not ramping up. If she's 10 minutes late, you're not going crazy and bouncing off the walls as long as you're sitting there stitching.
And that's funny that you brought that up because that actually just happened last night.
Oh,
She was out and I thought she was going to be home by 8:30. She was cutting it close. She wasn't home until later. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like I said, that only gets worse.
So, yeah.
And right now with everything that's going on with the virus,
Yep.
you are, because we know how reckless they are. We know how reckless we were. Um,
Yeah, it's scary, but thank goodness I was stitching and I was texting her, like, where are you? But yeah.
I have a granddaughter in college, and she called her folks yesterday when I was there, or maybe the day before. But she had been with her boyfriend, and then before that, he had been with his roommate, and before that, his roommate was with somebody that tested positive. And she's calling saying, "Okay, what does that mean?
Really?
What do I do?" And I thought, well, we just, no matter where they are, we're still going to be moms.
That is true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the stress just never goes away.
No, I just with my grown ones, I just pretend they're all at home in bed at 10 o'clock at night, and that's fine. I'm good.
That's
I
good. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I just assume that's where they are.
Yeah. So we're kind of going to get out of stitching a little bit and talk about some favorite books or movies.
Okay, this is hard for me. um, Books. Let's look at books first.
Okay.
I have some favorites. I loved the Clan of the Cave Bear series. I love the Outlander series.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. I like romances, but I don't like historical romances, and I don't like those where the poor little woman's rescued by the big handsome guy.
Oh,
I don't like that. I like strong women. Robin Carr is a really excellent romance writer, who doesn't have that kind of a romance. The women are very strong and very
nice.
and I've read all of hers multiple times. I also like serial killers, completely in a different direction, but I really do. The Lincoln Rhyme books. He's a detective who is paralyzed. Anyway, I like those. I really almost any of those that are in a series.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a series by J.D. Robb that's about a woman detective in about 2050. I don't like science fiction at all.
Okay.
But that's really not science fiction. It's really more of a detective kind of a deal. So, movies, funny, but not slapstick.
Okay.
I'm not too much into movies that make me cry. I don't really want to.
Yeah, no, me either.
There's enough out there.
Yeah.
I don't really need that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We all need some comedy right now, I think. Yeah. So what fictional place would you most like to go?
Becca, I read that question and I read it again. I couldn't think of any fictional places.
Oh, okay.
I don't read, I don't know. I don't, the books that I read are really not about fictional places.
Okay.
And so I don't have that to fall back on. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan or, those kind of things. I don't know. No fictional places. I can tell you places I'd like to travel, but not fictional.
Okay, well that would work too. I mean, there's I think I interviewed, I can't remember who it was, but they just mentioned that their place was where they're at, their home, because that was their ideal place to visit and live.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely a homebody. That's for sure. But we've done a little bit of traveling, not much, but a little. And I loved Israel.
Oh, wow.
That was a very emotional faith journey for me. We went with a tour group, and the minute we got off the plane and on the bus, and the travel director said, "Welcome home," I started crying. And I cried till I got back on the plane. Everywhere we went, I cried. But it was a wonderful trip. We went to England one summer, and it was just gorgeous. What a beautiful place. Um, and one of my favorite trips was a fall trip when Jerry and I flew to Philadelphia and rented a car and drove all up through the Northeast the 1st of October.
Nice.
Down
Beautiful.
down the coast in Maine. Yeah, it was. I would love to do that again. That was beautiful.
That's funny that you mentioned like Israel, and because my oldest daughter wants to go travel there. She's a senior in college right now, and so afterwards she wants to go kind of travel the world a little bit because she's in linguistics, so she's learned a whole bunch of different languages.
Right.
And that's one of the top places that she wants to go. So,
you know, oddly enough, we've been overseas. We've been to Italy and to Greece and to Turkey, and we've been to Ireland, and you know, all of ours were faith journeys. They were with a religious group, but Israel is probably the place where I felt the safest in terms of travel. Their security is phenomenal.
Oh, that's good. Wow.
It's phenomenal. And I felt very comfortable everywhere I went there, even in crowded places. I was not ever,
Learned it all, yeah.
not ever.
Well, that makes this mom feel much better.
Exactly.
As soon as she said she wanted to go travel, I was like, come on now.
Well, I wouldn't say that right now is the best time to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
This is past.
Yeah. Well, she's not going right now, so hopefully over the next, few years, maybe it'll get better. But yeah. So big loud truck. If you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be?
I would spend it with my children. What else is there?
That's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
When your children are grown and gone from home, and you know this because yours is away at college, you crave the time with them.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's hard to get everybody in one place, at one time as they get older. So.
It is very difficult. We have 3 children, and we have 8 grandchildren, and we have 3 great-great-grandchildren.
Wow.
One more coming in another month. And it's rare. It's very, very rare that we're all together. But honestly, when I said to spend it with my children, I really meant with my children.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because the time you get with them as they get older is almost always with their family and more families,
Yep.
And so that one-on-one time, when you get to sit down and look them in the eye and have a conversation, that's what you crave. I know.
It's making me a little emotional because it's making me think about the future since my kids are older.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to.
You said earlier that my videos are calming, but here I am. No,
that's the emotions. No. Well, we'll kind of segue out of that a little bit and see if we can not get as emotional. The next question is, do you have any other hobbies besides cross stitch?
I do punch needle.
Oh.
I don't do it quite as often because I get so caught up in the cross stitch, that I can't put this down yet. But yes, I do that. I don't quilt anymore. My hands are bad. I have arthritis, and I've had on my right hand, I've had 2 joint replacements in my fingers.
Okay.
And one of them is great, and one of them is not. I still can cross stitch because I do a stabbing motion. The sewing motion is extremely difficult for me. So I can't stitch in hand for that reason.
Okay.
I don't stitch in hand for that reason. Holding the fabric, one of the reasons I don't quilt anymore is because holding the fabric like that, I can't do that.
Okay. And stitching does take up, it's a very time consuming hobby. So,
It is. It is.
so this is a fun question. It is one of my favorites, and it's how would your friends describe you?
um, calm, serene, peaceful. That probably is first.
Hmm.
But also, I can be rigid. I have expectations. And so I don't really like it much when people get outside of my expectations. Um, when I was a high school principal, I had a sign on my door that said "Nice matters,"
Oh,
and that's really been my motto my whole life. I think nice matters. So be nice, and if you're not nice, then we need to talk about that. We need to figure out why you're not nice and how you're going to change it.
you need to talk to a lot of people right now.
And it's also my version of nice. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and particularly with the political season upon us,
Yeah,
um, I don't do politics. First of all,
yeah, I don't either.
I don't talk about it. Um, I don't talk about who I'm going to vote for, although I will be voting. I don't talk about it, and I don't read it. I'm not on Instagram anymore. I still have an account there, but I haven't been on it in months. I don't have time. I'm barely getting to Facebook, but in Facebook, if it's a political something or other, I'm very likely to snooze that person for 30 days till we can, and I'll do that until the election's over.
That's smart. Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
mean I don't like them. It doesn't mean I don't love them or don't respect them. I don't want to read that. So I either scroll past or I snooze them for a little while and I go on.
Yep,
We don't have to be ugly about it.
I agree.
We just don't.
I think that needs to be actually the new world motto is just
But
be nice.
yes, nice matters.
Yes, 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 it does. It's a very good message.
I had that cross stitched, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a cross stitch that says nice matters.
No, I just found an alphabet.
Oh, and just stitched it. I like that. That's neat.
I wonder what I do with that. I don't know where it is.
You're going to have to find it.
I
Maybe
might
just
put
make
it on
a
my front
post
door.
about that.
If you enter here, nice matters.
I like that. I like that a lot. So the next question is a stitching question, and it's just how do you prefer to stitch? And I know you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but
I do a variety of things. I use hooks a lot because I have to do the stabbing motion, and I do it two-handed.
okay.
I can do that, but I can't really hold the hook. So I have an Elbacy. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but I have an Elbacy hook clamp on
Okay.
that I clamp onto a little table, a rolling table that I pull up in front of me. And I also have their little fanny one that you sit on.
Mm.
When I do a bigger hook, I use that. But I also use scroll frames. I use the roller frames. In fact, I brought a sneak peek for you. My LNS, which is the shepherd's needle in Little Rock, evidently got one of the first deliveries of coming to America. So I was able to pick up my box about 10 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've stitched on it a week. I'm not going to scroll it to show you the top part, but I'm really still on the top, but this is part of it right here. And this is how this is going to stand. These are, I know somebody's going to ask that question. These are those ironing board clips. Your cover. When you have an ironing board cover, these are the clips that go under the ironing board to pull it tight. That's what I use to pull this taut. These are wonderful. Wonderful.
Nice. I can't believe how far you I have mine too, but I don't plan on starting it anytime soon, but
Well, I'm down to the sails and the little pilgrim guy.
nice.
So the top of the border is done. I'm working from the top down.
Yeah, that's usually like top left down is usually how I do it too. Do you have a preferred fabric that you kind of, lean towards?
I do linen, first of all.
Linen.
Now, I used to stitch on Ada all the time, but it, again, is usually stiff. I have some Ada that's not,
Hmm.
uh, that's hand-dyed Ada, and it's great, and I use that occasionally. But I prefer the linen because of the softness of it. I use 4.5 readers with a magnifier.
Okay.
If I get up to 36, I have to have both. But up to about 32, I can just use my readers. So 28 and 32, but usually 32
32.
count is what I use.
Nice. Yep, I'm an Ada only stitcher, so I just got obsessed with samplers recently. So I have like 3 going, but I have to make sure that they don't have a lot of the fractionals or, a lot of the specialty stitches because I'm an Ada stitcher. So it limits me a little bit, but
You know what I mean about the stiffness of it then?
the
That some
what?
the stiffness. Some Ada is very, very stiff.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the hand dyed, because I get a lot of mine from like Be Stitch Me and Color and Cotton and Picture This Plus, and theirs isn't as stiff
Right. I
as
love yours.
yeah, yeah. So, but I use a Q snap, so for me it doesn't. I guess the stiffness, if it was stiff, isn't as terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of dyers out there now for the specialty.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so addicting.
I just got a piece yesterday from Victorian Motto Sampler. Her stuff is so pretty.
Yeah, I've been looking at those, but hers are, I think, mostly linens, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So the next question's a fun one, and I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's a traveling question. Where is your favorite place that you've traveled, and did you bring stitching along when you went?
Probably my favorite. I said my favorite place was Israel, but in the United States, it was the trip up to Maine. And no, I did not take stitching on either one of those trips. Now, we've done a couple of cruises though, and I did take stitching when I did those, and I did stitch.
Nice.
It's nice sitting out on the deck and stitching.
Oh,
Great,
I'm sure.
great night. Yeah.
I am sure it is. Um, so what can you not do without for your stitching? Like your favorite go-to must-have?
Light.
Yep,
Absolutely light.
me too.
I could probably stitch on 36 even if I had a bright enough light. And I'm struggling with that right now. I have a floor lamp, just a regular floor lamp that has 3 bulbs. And I have, not in here, but in a different room, I have that lamp right up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then right here on my right side, I have a table with a clamp on light that pulls over it, and that has a magnifier.
Okay.
I don't use the magnifier all the time, but the light is shining right down on. And then I have a small clamp on light on a little table on this side that I pull over, so I'm getting light from both directions. I actually I'm looking for a different one even. I saw the Attic. Do you watch their videos,
Yep.
the Attic videos?
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 videos back, they talked about the little spotlight that they got from IKEA
Oh, yeah.
that was really little, like that big around, that just went right down. And I couldn't find it on IKEA. I don't know if they were just out of it or if I wasn't looking for the right thing, but I'm continuing to look for one like that because I think that would be helpful. I could do without a magnifier, as long as I stitched 28 or 32, but I cannot do without the light. I have not yet had the eye surgery stuff, and I don't need it yet, but I have the beginnings of some problems with it. So I'm hoping it'll be a few more years before I have to do that.
Yeah, wow.
More light, always more light. Every time I go to the eye doctor, that's what I tell him. Can you not just give me more light somehow? I have contacts in now, and I can't stitch with them at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I have to have the readers, and I have to have the light.
Yeah, I find that too because I take my stitching with me everywhere, doctor's appointments, car appointments. And I have a little clamp-on light that I won from Acorns and Threads when we went to the Acorn gathering. I can't remember what the brand is, but it clips onto my Q-snap, and it just has a little gooseneck, and it has, I think, 3 different levels of light or something.
Is it bright enough?
It's
Really bright?
bright. I mean, it's good for when I'm going around. I still try to sit by a window, when I'm in a waiting room of some sort to stitch, but it's pretty bright. I'll message you.
Yeah. Is it a battery operated?
Yes.
The one I have has to have a cord, so that really hampers me.
Yeah, this one I'm pretty sure has
so much money on lights. I have the little halo light. I have, I have a few.
Just need light.
Don't mention it to my husband. Because every time a package comes, he says, "Is that another light?"
Like, let's see, I need light to stitch. You want me to keep busy? Let me have my lights.
Right.
So the next question is, how do you decide on what you're going to work on next?
I go over to my box of whips or projects and thumb through and think, "Oh, that's a pretty one. I'll do that."
That works.
There's no rhyme or reason. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just whatever strikes me at the moment.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've tried different things. People talk about spreadsheets and rotations and whip wheels, and I can't do any of it. So I'm the same way. I just kind of like, I'll stitch on this today.
I'm very easily influenced, I will say that. If I look at your video and you're stitching something I've got, I'm just liable to put mine down and go pick up whatever. Yes, that's true.
I guess it's good because then it gets you touching more of your whips,
Yes, I really don't have that many whips. I only have about 18, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
About 35, so that's why I say it's not that many.
Well, it's not compared to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have 90 to 100 whips.
I do have a lot of patterns. Yes, I have a lot of patterns.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't spend money on it. That kind of stuff. I just want to buy patterns.
That's funny that you said that. My husband and I had a conversation the other day. Every Saturday he comes to take me to lunch at work, and packages have been arriving. And he's like, another package arrived today. Is it stitching stuff? And I was like, probably. And I don't remember what else he said, but I'm like, at least I'm not on, spending money on drugs or cigarettes or at the bars. I'm like, it's something, and he's like, good point.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was a good conversation, and he hasn't questioned packages since. So we are to the final question, and this is my all-time favorite, and I save it for the end for a specific reason. And it is, what's the best thing that has happened to you so far this year? And I know it's a challenging question for a lot of people, so.
No, it's not challenging for me. Grandbaby number 4 is on the way.
That's exciting.
Always about the babies.
Yeah.
Always about the babies. Yeah.
Yep, that is definitely a joyous event for sure.
Yeah.
So, nice.
4 great grandbabies, and I never thought I would see that day, but what a blessing.
That's great. That is great. My all of our grandparents are gone. So, yeah, they haven't got to see very many of their great grandbabies. So enjoy it.
We don't go anywhere, but we did just go up to our sons and spend a couple of days and to take the kids to school on the first couple of mornings of school. Our kids are all educators, and teachers have to go to school early. They can't take their own kids because they're at other schools. So we got to go up and take them to school the first couple of days, and
that's neat.
Yeah.
Those are also good memories for both of you.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that was a lot of fun to get to know you, and thank you.
Well, I appreciate it so much, Becca. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out. Hopefully, no storms are hitting anytime soon.
Well, they'll be here because the hurricanes are getting close. If
Yeah,
they're not already hit, they're close down on the coast, and
yeah.
so we'll be getting I don't know
Both sides
whether
of
the
it.
tail end or the front end of that, but we'll be getting the rain,
Yeah.
5 or 6 inches in the next day or so uh, from the hurricanes. But I feel really blessed that we don't have to evacuate, like the people down there do.
Yeah, we'll send a lot of prayers out to everybody.
Absolutely.
It's just such a crazy time. So prayers
Yeah.
are needed all around.
I'm
So,
glad 2020 is over, that's for sure.
right? There was a meme that just said, we made it through, all of these holidays up until now. Let's just buy some candy, make a turkey and put up a Christmas tree and call it good.
Right. I said, well, today and be done.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll leave it on that note. So thank you so much. And we'll say bye to everybody on Flosstube.
Bye.